So I'd squeeze myself, ntajinyima, just so that when I go to that app, I can see that there's money. There's money, but also it's because then my very lovely partner here was a spendthrift. He spent money. It comes and it's spent. So the fear also was if it comes down to it and he doesn't have money, there needs to be a cushion. So for me, the fear now intensified. I have to have something in my account just in case. And it happened a lot of months. He'd come to me and say, babe, nimeishiwa. So that car, 20 Gs, is what we split between the two of us. And so for me, it was fear. The scarcity was driven, that mindset of you have to hold on to money. It cannot move. I now know it's scarcity mentality because it was driven out of fear. So we stopped living a life that we deserve based off on, I fear that XYZ will happen. I fear that it will be the 15th and we won't have money. And so I have to cushion my spouse, or I have to cushion us. And so when I see the drop on money, so I'd sacrifice my clothing, I'd sacrifice, squeeze so much, I'd walk so that I can take a matatu with 20 people. You get, and then, you live a quality of life that isn't really consummate or commensurate with the amount that you're making. Yeah.
And then coaching began, which I say it was super brave. It is super brave, especially from a vulnerability point of view and from just being open and saying, this is where we are at. Please share the journey of what coaching enabled you to do.
So one of the things that you can even tell is at that time, Vera and I were on very different money journeys, right? Our belief systems are also very different. For me, money is meant to be spent, right? That was my mindset. I will earn more, right? What I never used to question is spent on what, right? So the spending was not the problem. It was the choice of how I was spending it. She was a keeper, right? And so you're finding a situation where inevitably, because we're married, right? So if I have spent the money and you have kept the money, somewhere those two are going to clash, right? And compromises will have to be made. And that was not working at the time. Also, the other problem was we would only talk at the point of crisis, right? The crisis here would be, it's halfway through the month, I'm out of cash, right? Or the crisis would be, an emergency has come up, she's got money, I don't have money, you get? And we've already agreed we're not going to touch the savings. So again, so we're only talking at points of crisis. One of the things, if I could say a new thing that I had learned somewhere before I got to talk to you, maybe you're even the one who told me, was that was not the way to do financial management. Is we needed the discipline of, at certain milestones, sitting and saying, where are we on cash? Where are you? Where am I? Are we heading in the right direction? And coaching with GoForth started us on that journey, because we started a quarterly cycle where we would come and she would put her items and agenda on the table. I would put mine. And then you can see how over the years, her mindset and my mindset, we've sort of been converging, right? In such a way that we actually have kind of the best of both worlds now, right? Where we have that ability to say, okay, let's make sure that this part of the money is well covered and protected. And also let's make sure we're not living like poverty-stricken people just because we are afraid that money will run out. And that's that has only come as a result of this rhythm of constantly sitting. It's like a board meeting,
Yes.
you know.
It's actually done.
I mean, it's so funny when we come to see you and we're sitting in a boardroom with a screen and everything. It is a board meeting because we're building a family, an organization called the Mwauras. We like to call it the Mwauras dynasty. That has to be taken seriously. We need advisors. We need to be speaking the same language. And that's really been life-changing, I could say.
Yeah. I remember the first 3 sessions for me were sessions in tears.
They were tough.
They're very tough because,
Very
like he
tough.
said, we didn't have conversations on money. It was only when there's a crisis. But when there's a crisis, you feel resentment because you're like, okay, so you're only talking to me about money when there's a crisis. And for him, it's like, I can't even speak to her because what am I going to say I've spent the money on? Or this is what's happening. I need to use the money, but how am I going to go to her and tell her this is it? So for me, it was very difficult to start talking about money for what it is, to remove the emotions and deal with the facts. Because also money is emotional. You're just thinking of all the resentful things you put in your head. You're like, but you got us here, you took debt. And that was me for like 3 sessions until it unlocked to me that just the way we talk about the kids, just the way we talk about has laundry been done, just the way we talk about, what do we talk about? Life, God, faith, is the same way we should talk about money. It is, what's your mindset? What has been happening? What do you think of doing with it? What do we do with it now? It's so amazing that over the years, now it's not, we're in a crisis. I was reminding him the other day, I was like, babe, spend. It's okay, because he also came out of this like, wow, I need to be a better steward for money. I need to lead this family well when it comes to money. And we keep reassuring each other, you're on the right track. I am not holding money anymore. We need something and there's money somewhere. Spend it. And for me also, the key takeaway was, it is the basket. The basket that feeds the Mwauras is one. It's not 2 baskets. I know it's very controversial, or it's a controversial topic because there's been financial abuse and all these things, and that's that. But for we, the Mwauras, we've come to understand that when the basket is one, there's such a vantage point. Like the view on the money is from a higher point. So you're able to see it for what it is.